Welcome again to the Remi Review. I'm here with Prolific and the Dominaton Plaque. Still haven't got anybody else on there. Send me your emails at remistevens@remistevens.com. If you don't necessarily want to be on the plaque, or you don't want me to mention that you gave me an idea, I can hide that. You can just say, don't mention my name. I'm not going to mention your name. Bullshit products you're angry about. What things in the news you saw that you didn't like?
World.
This week on the show, hot and spicy, we're going to talk about sex and violence.
Oh my God.
The phrase alone, sex and violence. Why do those things get grouped together like that all the time? People doing it, that's all.
That's it?
We are sexual beings. We're not necessarily violent, though. Violent is only something that comes from external circumstances. But the sexual need in human beings, that's internal, that's emotional, that's not coming out of external circumstances.
Get that.
But see, we're convinced in the media that violence is every day, that violence is this internal thing in human beings, that this is inherent to being a human being, that you're going to be violent. And we're shown this, and we're told about it constantly. I mean, I grew up, you could watch G.I. Joe every week. G.I. Joe, he would find a bad guy and he'd go blow him up. And we wouldn't actually see G.I. Joe blowing someone up. We would see a building blow up, or we would see a complex blow up, and of course there would be people dying, but you don't see that on the show. You just see violence having positive effects. Week after week, G.I. Joe went out and took out a bad guy. This is the way good things get done, through violence. And the way G.I. Joe did things, guess what? We're all adults now. That's how we're doing things. We're going out around the world and blowing up complexes, blowing up buildings with the expectation that we're taking out a bad guy, and that's the way you get things done. You blow up the whole place and you take out the bad guy and all the innocents are fine, despite the fact that, a million people are dead in Iraq. That's the G.I. Joe style. That's the actual outcome. As soon as you kill one person, you actually create more violence, because the one person dies, everyone that knew them thinks, damn it, that's injustice, and they're right. And they will be driven to violence because, again, we're convinced that violence is the way to take down the bad guy, to take down injustice. I don't want to get into 9/11.
No, that's totally Osama drama.
Osama drama. Thank you, Prolific. It's all about creating drama around a specific character. Coney 2012, here's another bad guy. We've got to invade Africa and kill millions of people so we can catch this one supposed warlord. Media, we're going to talk about the media a little bit. Let's look at a computer game, right? In a computer game, computer games are full of fake enemies. Of course they are. And they're teaching us to run out and shoot things, and this is how we take out enemies. And it's over and over. But computer games maybe 10, 15 years ago weren't nearly as violent as they are now. They certainly weren't as graphic. As soon as they get better graphics, they just make more graphic violence out of it.
Are you telling me Pong wasn't violent?
If it was implied violence. That's my point. Because they weren't able to depict actual violence. And this is where sex and violence is today, that the sex remains implied. For whatever reason, we can't make sex overt, but we can have overt violence all over the place. Just let's look at advertising or a billboard, right? If I were to put a billboard up with two cartoon characters and one was shooting the other with a bazooka, people, oh, hey, bazooka, that's funny. That's, it would be an acceptable ad. Whereas if I put the same ad up and those two cartoon characters were lovingly enjoying sexual intercourse, you'd go to jail for it. There's no way you could put that on a billboard. And it's ridiculous. The one is about hurting someone, and the other is about...
Testify!
The most acceptable place for human beings to have sexual interactions is on the hood of a car. But we can't show this in advertising. We have to show it in a way that's implied. So we'll have, a lady in a bikini sitting on the hood of the car. Or we'll have a dope rapper with a stack of cash sitting in front of the car.
Yeah.
So the sex is implied. These are sexy characters, but we can't actually see them doing what is perfectly natural, having sex on the hood of a car. Everything about this media is to convince us that violence is a normal characteristic of human beings, that it's something that does, and sure, violence does happen every day, but is that violence being created because of external circumstances, i.e. people are being convinced that violence is normal, they're being put into positions, but I don't think that that violent is something inherent to human beings. I think that we're just convinced of that, and we're being told that constantly. Obvious that the people running the show want regular people to stay in their homes and not speak out and not do things. And a great way to do that is to make you fearful. Now, to create fear, you need to make the person feel weak and different. We're convinced, because of seeing all this violence in the media over and over and over, that violence is normal. So the average individual who is non-violent and sexual is thinking, I'm different than everyone else because the media is telling me that that's different. And I'm also weak because everyone else is violent and I'm not violent. So I'm a weak individual and I'm different at the same time. And that's how you foster fear. You make them feel weak and different.
News fail.
We're gonna go on to the news fail. We gotta move along here. We're running out of camera time.
Rolling, Remi.
I just printed this off quickly this morning. We're gonna look at something from the BBC. The headline here, Obama says same-sex couples should be able to marry.
Could be an example of Obama drama.
This would be Obama drama, absolutely. They want to create this primary issue. They want it to be all about gay marriage. They don't want it to be about the fact that tens of thousands of people die on a daily basis around the world from starvation. There are 27 million people in slavery in the world right now. If you believe that marriage necessarily has to be something that's contained within government law, then you're forced into a position to say, okay, gay marriage should be approved or not approved. But if you just take it out of that realm altogether, the argument collapses and doesn't exist anymore, which is how it should be. The state shouldn't accept any marriage as a legal union. It's no business of the state. Marriage should be an agreement between the people who are involved in the marriage. So if you're going for a religious marriage, it's between you and your partner and God. The state has no business in that. If you're not religious and you're going to get married, well then it's just a civil contract. If you want to inform the government that you just got married, great, send them a letter, send them a nice card, and they can take it, they can maybe post it up on the wall, they'll put it on the, on the refrigerator. Such and such just got married. Isn't that wonderful? And after a month, they can throw it out. The Gallup polls. Oh, they love to do polls to tell people what they're thinking. Oh, were you wondering what you were thinking? Well, we did some statistical data on this, and we're going to tell you what you were thinking. 50% of Americans favor legalizing gay marriage. Well, was there a third option on this poll that said maybe no marriages should be legalized? Is that, if you ask people that, would we get the same response? Barack Obama has ended months of hedging on the issue of gay marriage. He's hedging it. He doesn't want to necessarily go too far this way or too far this way. He's nicely trying to hold both sides of the debate, but it's all fake. The real other side of the debate is government should get the hell out of marriages. That's the real other side of the debate. It's just assumed that
Gotta make a decision.
that there's got to be the central power that's running everything, including our most sacred unions.
Consume.
Mr. Clean product, but it was too expensive. I didn't want to pay $4 for something I don't actually need. Now, a little bit about the marketing of Mr. Clean. Mr. Clean, right? He's this tough-ass bastard. Looks like he just got out of jail, right?
He looks like he's a little happier. Maybe he's happy because he got out of jail.
Yeah, maybe he's happy because he just got out of jail. One way or another, he looks like a tough guy. He's physically able to be successfully violent if you're a big tough guy. Violence, because we've been convinced over and over that violence is perfectly normal and is actually the way that you get things done. I mean, it's carried over to the point where we want a violent guy to tell us how to clean things. We think violence is a successful way to clean your toilet. That's an appropriate place for violence now. if you want it done properly, you better attack that toilet. You better get in there like Mr. Clean and beat the shit out of your toilet. Send me your emails at remistevens@remistevens.com and you might win a prize. You can be anonymous. I don't have to say who you are, and you might get your name on the plaque, or maybe not. Maybe you won't get on the plaque. I don't know. That's up to you.
Culture.
Jim Smetchland here again for the cultural review part of the show. This time around, a poor cover of a song by sexy Madonna. Now this does fit, although often on the show the song doesn't fit. This time the song still doesn't fit, but the artist, Madonna, is a sexy lady, and that is applicable.
Stop